Hello bike enthusiasts, this is Emily down at Varsity Bike and Transit. I'm going to show you how to do a flat fix on a Bambam City cargo bike. So there are a number of steps involved in taking the wheel off of the Bambam. First one we're going to do is remove the chain guard. It comes with a fully enclosed chain guard, which helps keep your pants clean and the chain cleaner. There are going to be 2 screws on the back side here. Once you have all the screws out, the chain guard just kind of pulls back and off. So the next step is we're going to remove the cable from the internally geared hub back here. I like to use a flathead screwdriver to kind of push this back. So once we have that, you'll see the cable is now slack, so it's easier to grab. And so we're simply going to turn it forward and slide it out. So now the next step is we have to release the cable from the roller brake. Basically, we're going to spin this forward again the same way we did with the internally geared cable there. So the final step to get the brake loose, you can see that the circle eventually opens up. We're just going to slide this forward and pull it out. After we have both cables out, we're going to remove what are called the chain tensioners, and you don't have to loosen these all the way off. And the final step to release the brake, there is one more bolt that connects the brake to the actual frame. And now we can finally remove the wheel. It's just a standard 15mm open-ended wrench. And you don't have to take these bolts all the way off either, just loosen them enough. And so once they're loose, you're going to want to slide the wheel as far forward as you can in the dropouts. That'll allow you to get the chain off of the freewheel and back. So we're going to kind of spin it forward, taking the chain off. Also being very careful to keep the chain on the chainring in the front of the bike. So now we're just going to pull the wheel straight back and beyond the dropouts. I like to just loop it back around the dropout. That way it stays tense and we don't lose the chain off the front of the bike. So now we're going to take the tire off of the rim. We're going to use our trusted quick stick. So I'm going to pull the tube out of the tire itself. Now we're going to inflate the tube a little bit, and that way we can find the source of the flat. And once you have it inflated, you're just going to run your hands around the outside of the tube. Once you've located where the hole is in the tube, match it back up with the tire. Leak was coming from here, so now we're going to inspect the tire to see if there's anything stuck in there. I like to look on the inside of the tire. That way if there's anything sharp sticking out, I'm not going to cut my finger open on it. We recommend using a thorn-proof tube on any of our cargo bikes. They're a little bit thicker and they prevent flats. We're going to put a little bit of air in here just to give it a little bit of shape. Once we have the tube back in the tire, we can put the tire back on the rim. Now, one thing to pay attention for is the direction of the tire itself. You just want to make sure when you put it back on there, you're not putting it on backwards. And then it's easiest if you put one side of the tire on at a time. I recommend inflating it a little bit slowly and keeping an eye on the bead of the rim just to make sure everything is seated properly. And what you're looking for is any like bulges or obvious spots where the tire wants to come off the rim. If you notice that, stop inflating it, let some air out, push that end back in, and then continue. Once you have it properly inflated, put the valve cap back on, and now we're ready to put the wheel back on the bike. First thing we're going to do is just wrap the chain around the axle. You don't want to put it all the way around the gears. It won't give you enough slack to get it back into the bike. Next thing to look out for, there are notches on these 2 washers here. You want to have them facing forward, and then they're just going to slide right into the dropout. Now we're going to wrap the chain back around. When you're working with a single speed or internally geared bike, you always want to start by tightening the non-drive side of the wheel. So you can tighten down the other side. So now we're going to reconnect our internally geared hub cable here. Alright, so we're going to push this all the way down. Slide that back in. Now we're going to reinstall the brake cable. We're going to put our little notch back in here. Slide that back. We're going to push the silver piece down. And slide it back in. Now we can tighten down our chain tensioners. And you just have to get those snug. You don't need to crank down too hard or get them too tight. Once we have those on, we can put the chain guard back into place. Put these bolts back on. And then you just want to give it one quick turn to make sure things aren't rubbing anywhere. And now you're ready to roll.